was born in a small town where my dad left when I was 8. My mom worked 2 jobs to keep us fed and in school. I learned early that nothing worth having comes without hard work. I took night classes and put myself through community college. I earned certifications in quality control after 6 years of late nights. By day, I inspected heavy machinery for flaws that could cause disasters. The work taught me to notice details others easily miss. I prefer weekends, fixing my truck, or going fishing alone. I am not outgoing, but I am loyal to the people I love. Ryan has been my friend since we were 12 years old. We played baseball together through high school and shared every dumb secret. He is the kind of guy people gravitate toward immediately. Ryan is confident, funny, and good-looking without trying too hard. He works sales at a dealership and talks his way into deals. Ryan has a history of short relationships and messy breakups. He never seemed the settling down type, and I accepted that. 3 years ago, I met Lily at a mutual friend's wedding. She was the maid of honor, glowing and impossibly easy to talk to. Her laugh was bright enough to cut through any crowd noise. She asked about my work with genuine interest and remembered the details. She smiled when I talked about tensile strength and quality standards. Those small acts made me feel important in a way I rarely did. We started dating not long after that wedding weekend ended. Lily worked as a receptionist at a busy dental office downtown. She loved going out with friends and posting pictures of new outfits. Her smile opened doors in places where I usually went unnoticed. Ryan welcomed Lily into our friend group like he did everything else. The 3 of us began spending most weekends together without thinking. There were barbecues, movie nights, and long late-night talks about nothing. At the time, it felt like the perfect balance of friendship and love. I trusted them both because I had no reason not to. Looking back, I see how quietly the cracks began to form. Lily grew distant in small, almost invisible ways at first. She started canceling plans and spending more time on her phone. When I brought up moving in together, she always found a reason to wait. Her conversations began to drift toward nicer things and bigger plans. She started posting videos about self-worth and glow-ups on social media. Ryan remained outwardly supportive and told me not to worry about her. I shrugged off the unease and chose to accept his reassurances. Believing in them felt safer than facing the possibility of betrayal. I told myself I was loyal because loyalty was what I valued most. That faith grew into a quiet blindness I would later regret deeply. 8 months before everything fell apart, Lily began to change. She was always distracted, her phone glued to her hand constantly. She said she was busy with new responsibilities at the dental office. But her stories started to sound rehearsed and strangely inconsistent. When I asked about her day, her answers grew shorter each week. She started staying out late for supposed girls, nights I was never invited to. Her perfume lingered long after she returned home, past midnight. When I mentioned moving in together, she smiled but looked away. "It's a big step," she said. "Let's not rush into it yet." It wasn't hesitation in her tone. It was distance hiding in plain sight. She started dropping comments about wanting nicer clothes and trips. When I told her we couldn't afford those things, she would sulk silently. "Other guys treat their girlfriends better," she muttered under her breath. That sentence stuck in my mind like a splinter I couldn't remove. Then came the comparisons, every single one leading back to Ryan. "Ryan's so funny. Ryan always knows the right thing to say. Ryan has great taste in music and restaurants." Every word turned my stomach, but I laughed it off to seem secure. I convinced myself she was only trying to make conversation. Ryan noticed my discomfort, but always brushed it away casually. "Don't worry, man," he'd say. "She's crazy about you." The words felt empty, but I clung to them like a lifeline. Trust was my weakness, and they both knew it well. One Tuesday afternoon, fate decided to tear away the mask. My boss told me the client's pickup was early, so I left work at 1. I thought it was a good day to surprise Lily with lunch. She told me she'd be working from home on her new admin project. I let myself into her apartment quietly so I wouldn't disturb her. The living room was spotless, the smell of her perfume fresh in the air. Then I heard voices coming from the bedroom. One of them was deep, familiar, and impossible to mistake. It was Ryan. My heart began pounding as denial tried to block the obvious truth. Still, I walked toward the door and pushed it open slowly. The sight before me burned into my mind forever. Lily and Ryan, tangled in the sheets, eyes wide with shock. Ryan jumped up, stuttering my name, reaching for his jeans. But Lily just stared at me, calm and detached, almost proud. "Perfect timing," she said with that cruel smirk. "We were just talking about how pathetic you are in bed." Ryan turned pale, whispering for her to stop, but she kept going. "You have no idea how much I faked it," she added coldly. Her laughter was hollow, sharp and final. I didn't say a word. I pulled out my phone, took a single picture, and turned away. No anger, no shouting, just an empty silence. That moment, something inside me broke cleanly. The man who once trusted them both was gone forever. I spent that night driving aimlessly through the city. The lights blurred past, but my mind was crystal clear. I wasn't going to beg or seek revenge through anger. I wanted truth, cold and undeniable, to speak for itself. The next morning, I called in sick and started digging. First, I visited Lily's apartment complex to ask a few questions. The property manager, Mrs. Rodriguez, knew me from before. When I mentioned Lily, her expression tightened slightly. "She's 2 months behind on rent," she said quietly. That shocked me, because Lily had claimed she was saving money. Mrs. Rodriguez added she was trying to break the lease early. "She said she's moving in with her boyfriend," she explained. That boyfriend was supposed to be me, or maybe now Ryan. My stomach turned, but I kept my face calm and polite. After leaving, I drove straight to Ryan's dealership downtown. His boss, Mr. Williams, greeted me like an old gym buddy. We chatted, and I asked casually how Ryan was doing lately. "He's been doing well," he said. "Had his best month in April." April was when Lily started acting distant and secretive. Then Mr. Williams mentioned Ryan had asked for a pay advance. "Unexpected expenses," he said, shaking his head knowingly. I remembered the shiny BMW Ryan drove last weekend. When I asked, he'd said it was a loaner while his car was in the shop. But now I knew he had leased it, probably to impress Lily. That night, I started going through Lily's social media accounts. Her Instagram, her Facebook, her TikTok, every post was a clue. Pictures of fancy dinners and weekend getaways appeared suddenly. She captioned them with lines about knowing your worth. In one TikTok, she wore a gold necklace I'd never seen before. "Real love shows itself in actions," the caption read boldly. Every photo had subtle signs: an unfamiliar hand, a man's watch. She was documenting her affair like a highlight reel of lives. Her parents followed her pages and commented with pride. They had no idea what she was truly showing the world. I began taking screenshots, organizing them into a timeline. Every date matched the period she had grown cold to me. Ryan's name appeared in small hints, a location, a reflection. Their arrogance was my evidence, and it was all public. I even checked Ryan's financial patterns and recent behavior. He had borrowed against future commissions multiple times. He was digging himself into debt just to keep her satisfied. Lily, meanwhile, was pretending she had leveled up in life. The irony almost made me laugh through the bitterness. By the end of that week, I had every piece of the puzzle. They thought they were clever, untouchable, hidden behind charm. But all I needed was patience and proof, not revenge. I didn't have to destroy them. The truth would do it for me. and I was ready to make sure everyone who deserved to know would. Saturday morning arrived, quiet and heavy. I called Lily and told her I was coming to get my things. Her voice cracked, full of fake sweetness and panic. "Ethan, please, it's not what you think," she said desperately. "I have a photo, Lily," I answered calmly. "It's exactly what I think." At 2 in the afternoon, I showed up with 2 coworkers. Lily opened the door wearing makeup and perfume, as if charm could undo truth. She tried to touch my arm, but I stepped back coldly. "We need to talk like adults," she insisted. "We are," I said. "I'm here to take my stuff and leave." She followed me around, crying, explaining, denying, then yelling. "One mistake, Ethan. You're really ending 3 years over this." "One mistake doesn't last for months," I said quietly. Her face froze when I showed her screenshots from her TikTok. "You've been recording your betrayal for the internet to see." "You wouldn't show my parents," she whispered in shock. "I already did," I said. "They deserve to know who their daughter really is." Her tears turned to fury as I walked out the door. Next stop was Ryan's apartment. He looked exhausted, guilt carved deep into his face. "Ethan, man, we need to talk," he said weakly. "I know exactly what's left to say," I replied. "You've been with my girlfriend for months, lying to my face." "It wasn't supposed to happen," he said, voice shaking. "She was upset, said you two had problems, I just wanted to help." "Help," I snapped. "You helped her cheat and used your kids' money to do it." Ryan's eyes widened. "How did you?" "I know about the lease, the jewelry, the dinners." "You spent your daughter's future trying to impress someone who used you." He buried his face in his hands, mumbling, "I ruined everything." "You did," I said, "and now you get to live with it." The next morning, I drove to the Davises' home. They welcomed me kindly, still thinking I was part of the family. In their living room, I told them the truth calmly. Lily's mother began to cry as I showed them the photo. Her father sat silent, jaw tight, anger growing by the second. "She's been lying to us," he muttered, staring at the screen. "She's also 2 months behind on rent," I added quietly. They looked stunned, realizing how deep her deception ran. "She needs to face this," Mr. Davis said, voice like stone. Finally, I visited Claire, Ryan's ex-wife, at the hospital. She listened silently as I showed her the evidence. "He's been wasting money he owes his daughter," she said coldly. "I'll use this in court if I need to." "Do what's best for Mia," I told her and left. By that night, the truth had reached everyone it needed to. No screaming, no chaos, just quiet exposure. I hadn't raised a hand or told a lie. I simply turned the lights on, and their shadows revealed everything. The fallout came faster than I expected. By Tuesday morning, the first cracks began to show. Lily called me in tears, her voice trembling with rage and fear. "My parents are furious," she said. "You had no right to tell them." "They deserve to know the truth," I replied flatly. "They think I'm moving back home," she whispered miserably. "Sounds like a good idea," I said. "You're about to be evicted anyway." She hung up crying, and I didn't call back. A few hours later, Ryan's name appeared on my phone. "Ethan, please, you have to help me," he said frantically. "Claire's filing for a custody modification. She wants full custody." "She should," I said. "You spent money meant for your daughter on Lily." He swore under his breath, saying I'd ruined his life. "No, Ryan," I said quietly. "You did that all on your own." By Friday, his boss discovered the missing commissions and false advances. Ryan was fired that afternoon for financial misconduct. The BMW was repossessed a week later, right in front of his parents' house. He moved back into their basement, broke and humiliated. Meanwhile, Lily's parents cut her off completely. Her father refused to pay her debts, forcing her to find work. She got a job at a restaurant, but lasted only a few months. Constant lateness and attitude got her fired again. She ended up working at a grocery store just to survive. I didn't follow their lives closely, but word traveled fast in a small town. They both blamed me for everything collapsing around them. But the truth was simple. I had just stopped protecting them. I never exposed them to strangers or posted anything online. I only told the people directly affected by their actions. The rest was their own chain reaction of lies crumbling. A month later, Ryan called me again, his voice hollow and shaking. "Ethan, I'm losing everything. My job, my daughter, my car." "You made adult choices," I told him. "Now face adult consequences." "But we've been friends for 17 years, he said desperately. "It counted," I replied, "until you threw it away." He begged for help, said he'd end things with Lily for good. "Do it because it's right," I said, "not because you want something from me." That was the last time I ever heard his voice. As for Lily, she reached out once more using her mother's phone. "Can we meet?" she asked. "We need to fix this somehow." "There's nothing to fix," I told her. "You made your choice." At the cafe, she looked like a ghost of the woman I once loved. "Ryan's life is ruined," she cried. "His daughter hates him." "Then maybe you both learned something real for once," I said. She asked if I still loved her, her voice trembling. "I loved who I thought you were," I said quietly. When I left that coffee shop, I felt no anger, no pity. Just peace, the kind that comes when you finally stop caring. 6 months passed before I realized I was finally breathing again. The noise of betrayal had faded into a distant echo. I had stopped checking their social media and stopped wondering why. Life slowly rebuilt itself piece by piece, steadier than before. Mr. Davis called me one afternoon and asked to meet for coffee. He thanked me for being honest even when it hurt. "You handled it like a man who respects truth," he said firmly. Then he offered me a position at his plumbing company. He needed someone methodical, responsible, and calm under pressure. The offer paid better than my old job at the factory. It also came with something money couldn't buy: trust and respect. I accepted without hesitation, ready to start something new. The work felt real, tangible, and strangely healing. Fixing broken systems somehow mirrored fixing the mess in my life. One evening, I ran into Lily at the grocery store. She looked different, quieter, stripped of all her performative charm. "Hi, Ethan," she said softly, holding a basket of cheap groceries. "Hi, Lily," I replied, calm as ever. "I heard you're working with my dad," she murmured. "Yeah," I said. "He's a good man, teaches me a lot." She nodded, her eyes tired but sincere. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "Not just because I got caught, but because I hurt you." "Thank you," I said simply. "I hope you're working on yourself." "I am," she answered. "Therapy helps. I'm trying to understand why I needed attention so badly." "I hope you figure it out," I told her honestly. She smiled faintly and asked if I was happy now. "Yes," I said. "For the first time, I really am." Her smile was small but genuine, the first real one I'd seen in years. We parted ways without drama, just quiet closure. A few weeks later, I met someone new, Emily. She was a nurse at the same hospital where Claire worked. Claire introduced us, saying we might get along well. Emily was different, humble, kind, grounded in her own life. She paid her own bills, laughed easily, and never played games. We took things slow, no expectations, no illusions. Her presence felt peaceful, not like a performance. One evening, she asked about my ex, curiosity gentle but honest. "That must have been painful," she said softly. "It was," I admitted, "but it cleared my vision completely." I told her I spent years being loyal to people who weren't loyal to me. Finding the truth broke me, but it also rebuilt me stronger. "The best revenge," I said, smiling, "is living well." Lily was finding her own way back up. Ryan was rebuilding his life under supervision as a father. And I was standing exactly where I was meant to be. A better job, a better home, a better woman, a better peace. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you saves you completely. And the only justice worth having is happiness you don't have to fake. It's been 6 months since the day everything fell apart. My life is quieter now, simpler and stronger than before. I wake up each morning without anger sitting in my chest. The past feels like a scar that no longer hurts when touched. I work with Mr. Davis every day, learning how to build something lasting. He told me he wants me to take over when he retires. I told him I can't imagine being anywhere else. For the first time, I feel at home in my own life. Lily is rebuilding herself, facing the truth she once ran from. Ryan is learning how to be a father again under stricter rules. I don't hate them anymore. I simply stopped caring. Emily laughs at my bad jokes and listens when I speak. She makes ordinary moments feel enough, and that's everything I needed. I finally understand that peace is not found in revenge. It's found in choosing yourself when others try to break you. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. And when they face the storm they created, let them. The best revenge will always be this: living well, loving honestly, and never looking back.